Hello. Here we are again. Oh, I had to do this today. Couldn't help it. I was just Tim, Mr. Invisible, talking to all the people that he's found, that he knows are there, that are still pretending to be invisible. Like a big giggly game of hide and seek this has got. Anyway, the helicopters. Keep hearing helicopters. This one, I think I'll call Unity, and I want to touch on Unity very briefly. And I'm going to do seriously? I'm going to two Chinooks, you know those big ones with double props. Crikey, what's going on around here? Anyway, Unity. Try and stick to them. What I've understood more and more, and of course this subject is about finding that oneness, how we are all one. How do you understand that? Because we see the separation, we see the differences, because we're encouraged to. The unity in the end is very clear. It's a subject of the heart, of the infinite part within the human being. And that is the part that is one, because it quite literally and is of a spark of the divine. That's what we have. And coming to your creativity brings you close to that part of you. It's an awakening that people have had throughout history and tried to point out in playful ways, because it's about understanding. You can't tell people, but you can spark understanding, which of course you have all been doing for me, which I'm very grateful for. And it becomes so important. And for the younger generations to be able to see that and have a head start, if you like. That it enables you, if you understand that simple thing, that you have that part that we've all been aware of in our lives, without exception. And if you accept it more, that it gives you a safe place. It gives you a way to set boundaries, because in this world there are forces, there are people, institutions, there's all sorts of things always trying to divide. Now, why are they trying to divide? Because they are locked in that division. They are locked in the headspace, in the duality of this world. And then you have characters that become very adept at kind of taking advantage of that, of knowing that vulnerability we have as human beings to being triggered. And then all you can see is division. You look out, all you see is the differences in people. Of course, racism, sexism, all the isms. This comes up and then it gets fueled. And we have the ability to become aware of that and to hand that to the younger generations as they come up. A very simple understanding of the unity of us. And then that gives them a real leg up the tree, that they can actually, in their lives, they're still going to see it, watch the news, get triggered. But they can come home again and know that it's like, yeah, okay, there's that part, but we're still one. Whereas if you go so far from home, so far that to get home, there are so many obstacles on the way. That's why you need to stay close to your home. And the home is in you. And there are forces at the moment playing out their end game, as far as I'm concerned. But they are trying harder than ever. And they've been in control in the worst ways. That dragon, Murderock, that I mentioned, realised I might as well get clear, because it is personal here in the end, because they're not stopping. So I'm talking about Rupert Murdoch. Now here's a character that has media empires in North America, Britain and Australia mainly. The game he's playing, I honestly don't want to look too deeply into it. But I want all you invisible people and anyone else that's interested to be very aware of this particular man, because he's not letting up, his family's not letting up, and it's getting personal, highly personal. The damage he has attempted, I don't understand what took possession of him, except that I do. So I want everyone to be very aware of this man in particular, because he is, without getting judgmental, a very, very dangerous man. But I'll leave him for a minute to his games and pick off a couple of demons. Steve Bannon. Ooh, so funny, the little things that get you in the end, isn't it? After what you've done, you get in trouble for not turning up. Well, I'm glad you got a bit of trouble, but to be honest, I think it should be life. Because you, the games you've played, you came to Europe and went to neo-Nazi rallies across Europe, didn't you? You wrote a speech for Peppa Pig Man, who's luckily gone here in the UK. You wrote a speech for him. Why? Are you a speechwriter? What happened to you? I mean, it's not easy, not hard to see. Look, I mean, anyway, leave you alone for a minute. Alex Jones. Ooh, you're getting in trouble, huh? Well, it's right that you should. You're getting in trouble for something that you said and denied, the death of children. False flag, all your crazy conspiracy stuff. Mate, 150 million, I think it's a small amount. I think it should be 150 billion. I think you should be finished. I've watched your channel, InfoWars, the enlightened ones. Ooh, you took friends of mine down rabbit holes that I will not forgive you for, because they were friends of mine. And I don't think they can come back. So, Alex Jones, man. And that's just a couple of two. Niggly Barrage. That's Nigel Farage, in case. I want to get this clear a little bit, because I'm in England now and I didn't like the guy. And I'm trying to like everyone here. I mean, I'm sure he's got a heart, he's just never met it. But what sort of person runs such a campaign and then runs away at the very end? You should be standing up now, you plonker, not selling cryptocurrency on YouTube. Or cameos. Who wants you to wish him a happy birthday? Anyway, I'll leave you alone, because I must. Gotta be careful. Anyway, I'll turn that around by reaching for some stars instead. Because I said I would. And I will. And what I realise, I'll just keep reaching for stars. I will always be reaching for stars because that is the nature of stars. You know, I'm all your greatest fan. And I'll give a name or two, I guess. Make it clear. You're shining, you've been shining so bright. Clean Bandit. I think you're fantastic. Symphony was a beautiful song. And you've done so many beautiful songs. I'll have to literally do a list of loads of people. But I'll just take a few things that come off the top of my head. Of course, in Clean Bandit Symphony, there was Zara Larsson. She knows that I think she's fantastic. And Mabel Jax Jones. Family. Brother and sister? Twins? You're not twins. I don't know. You got a great family, I reckon. Mum and Dad must be fantastic. Turn out two like you. You're brilliant. Quite like Mabel. Oh, Jenny Akel. I don't know if I said that right. I won't say much. I'll keep it short and sweet. Just like you. But you got some beautiful music. Oh, I could just keep going. Ariana, well, bit of a soft spot there. This just, I could go on and on. It seems a bit silly. I'll work into this one. But I'm going to start doing it every single time because stars always shine. That's the point. And I want to shine back. So I'll keep playing this game because it's really good fun for me. It's invisible. You have an invisible fan base. All you. All the stars. And I'll get round to all you. Because that's what has to happen in a way. Anyway, getting a bit off point. Unity. That is where this has all got to go. You know, my stepmom showed me a little video this morning, and apparently in Plymouth, just yesterday in the streets, there was a multi-faith meeting, if you like, and a dancing in the street, and music and dancing in the streets of Plymouth. Now, I wish I'd known about that. I might have turned up. Gives me hope to see things like that, you know. That's the unity that we need, that we must have. It's the only hope we have here. Because the powers that have divided us for centuries, millennia, will always want to. That's the only game they have. They are blind to everything I'm talking about. And good. You know? They'd only cause a mess. So, anyway, I got a bit of the book. If anyone was interested, what? I heard invisible people go, yeah, do some more of the book. Hope so. Hope I heard that right. But I think I'm just going to carry on anyway. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on from where I was yesterday. And it does include actually a bit that you've heard before, but then of course you haven't heard it, so because no one's listening. So there's a little bit of a repeat here, but there's nothing wrong with repeating things. Because hey, it's a book. It makes it going deeper, doesn't it? So I'll do the last paragraph again of that bit I did for nobody yesterday. I just want to say I hope everyone's okay, because I feel, you know, there's a new moon tonight. I feel a shift. You're not leaving me behind, guys. I'm right here. And anyway, read the book. Start whining. Right, There is an event on the 29th of February in Barcelona. I have a seat and I am going. If I am correct, then never before has such a stage of such size been set. I feel so small, yet inside me is something so huge that it must come forth now. It is time. Lately, I keep flashing back to 12th of May 2017 when I went to Brighton. It was Zena's birthday and I surprised her after the event. Before going into the main hall, I suddenly found myself standing in front of Charanand. He had his eyes down and his hands out. On his right was a guy holding his hand and just looking at me, smiling. Charanand didn't look at me, yet now I realise he saw me then and knew who I was. It seems to me this stage has been set for me my entire life, that now I see the mechanisms of dream from my earliest days, and it was just waiting for me, the dreamer, to awaken to the dream and so begin to truly dream. I have a dream, a beautiful dream, one in which we all move towards the divine and see the divine in everything, begin to live harmoniously and so help every creature and plant as we need them as well as they need us. To realise the simple truth that first acknowledge your life and breath and then do what you do in life. For this subject to be commonplace and easy to accept, for children to think of approaching such a subject simply just like learning to surf or draw or play a game, to open the doors so wide that any friction is lost in the simple flow of so much love. Around me at the moment is the very real and surreal. I am seeing the fragility of all I perceive. I see some people who seem to know me, yet leave me to my dream, yet knowing they know gives me more certainty. I feel like I have just burst into the biggest banquet hall in the biggest palace, and I have run in looking only for Emma and done my crazy dance with music blaring, and only after it all I am looking up and around, and there are millions of people sitting quietly looking at me with love, and I have tried to just back out the door again, but the door just recedes, and I find myself seeing the king and the king's table, and there is a place for me, and next to my place is Emma, and the king is showering me with a love so familiar it is just like my breath, and my heart just says yes, time to come home. Now, 9th of March 2020, a lot has happened. I finally got to see my teacher in Barcelona, only to be shown very clearly that I was full of expectations and still not clear about all. He told me to be free from expectations, and so just live. It was a great disappointment, as he knew it would be. The event was 29th of February, and I stupidly thought Emma would appear because it was a leap year. So I had built up loads of ideas and expectations. I also thought I would meet Prem as well. I had the experience of all that crumbling and falling away. Slam dunked my mind. I couldn't move after the event. I sat until asked to leave. I walked across Barcelona to the Barcelona Princess Hotel and slept. The next morning I practiced twice, and I can honestly say I realised God. It was such a breathtaking experience to see that to be the conscious dreamer, to allow that sight that is not of these eyes, to simply be present, and by grace let glimpse the divine in its realm. I will never forget it, certainly the most powerful event I have been to. That next day I headed into town with an idea to busk, as I had no money. It would have been lovely to stay at the Princess Hotel, but not possible. It was the best room I have ever stayed in. I walked around for hours and finally ended up at the Rock Palace Hostel. €10 a night for a bed in a mixed dorm. It was great and I had a really good time there. Everyone was fun and easy to be with. Sleep was not so easy, with people coming and going. I again had such amazing experiences while practicing. I was flying with that love ever present, and my awareness of it so simple. I was walking on air. It was clear my expectations and ideas were holding me back, always blocking me, making me think there was something I had to do on the outside when all along it was freedom I needed. That freedom that releases you from obsessive thought patterns, and so you simply see. I wanted to stay in Barcelona and try busking, but I had little gear with me and couldn't change my flight. I said goodbye to Barcelona, bought Prem's book in a Fnac store and got going. The journey back was good, and as I came out at the Lisbon airport, there were a few people at the door, smiling at me in that way I am beginning to recognise, and holding a sign saying, "We love you." It made me feel great, yet my mind quickly said it is for someone else, and I moved on. I kept returning to it in my mind and thinking maybe it was for me. It made me feel good, so that has to be a good thing. No expectations though. I returned to work on the Tuesday and it was okay. I found myself in constant remembrance of this love of him, remember him and fight. That evening, drank too many beers. When will I learn? Next morning, up early, practiced and went for a walk around the town. Got back ready for work and off I go. Go to shop for lunch stuff and head to job on bike. Just going past Pingo Dos and jump over the pothole there and boom, front wheel comes off and I fly at speed over the handlebars and land straight on my face. Big reset. I come to with people around me looking down at the curb with blood just pouring out of my face. A shower of my lifeblood washing my waving hand as I try to gain my balance. Gradually I calm and become aware of what people are saying. Someone calling an ambulance. I sit and wait, attempting to rebuild my recent memory. My dream, so big and beautiful, so elusive yet real. Prem talking to me, Emma somewhere yet not. I was scared the bang on the head had removed all that was so important to me, that the universe had decided to take back my ultimate gift. I dug around and found it all still there, and now I just had a serious chapter change. Ambulance and police arrived, and off I went to Portimao Hospital. Hour later, I am lying on a bed ready for treatment, and in come 2 female nurses and a female doctor. They looked scared. It was another of those moments where people seem to already know me, yet don't say. Strange. They decide they cannot treat me for whatever reason, so the male doctor sorts me out on his own. 5th of the 5th, 21. To pick up the story, here I am, more than a year later, alive, luckily. The doctor did his work, and I left the hospital after having a drip fitted for blood loss and pain. I left with my face uncovered, as it wasn't possible to cover. I was lucky to be alive. It was thanks to the paint on a pedestrian crossing and its smoothness that I had a face left. If I had hit the tarmac, I would have lost it all. If I had hit the curb, I would have crushed my skull. I was going 50 plus kilometres an hour, then the sudden downward force, I must have impacted at 80 kilometres an hour easy. I haven't ridden a bike since. My goodness. Looking back now, it has been an awesome year, and that moment I hit the floor was for me a complete change of my universe. From that moment all was different. Within 1 week, the entire world would enter a lockdown due to COVID-19. So by the time I was outside again, there was no one there. My inner dream held fast, but I felt so separated from everyone. It was like a war had started while I was asleep, a war with an invisible enemy. My dad and Linda left for UK, too worried to stay there, and left me with their car. Finally I could drive around again, and guess what? Not allowed. It was proper lockdown, and Elizabeth was desperate that I come back to the house. She was in proper wartime reaction, storing food and making masks to sell. We had very little money and no work. They were tough days, and the whole world seemed in turmoil. Have you ever dreamt of something with such passion and certainty that it makes your head tingle just to recollect it? On the morning of the 4th of March 2020, before my bike ride, I was walking, and such a powerful force rose in me, an all-encompassing certainty, and I stated so clearly who I was that I just knew. It was the peak of so much that came before, the top, the highest point. I was flying as I said clearly exactly who I was, and realised the scope and extent of my dream not only took control the rest of my life, but would affect the entire planet. Then, just a short time later, boom, I die, and rise again, with now 2 scars crossing above my left eye. It seemed significant at the time, and over the next year would become more and more so. Exciting. Orson, all good? Is that it for now? Yeah, that is it for now from that stream. However, this upgrade is only just tuning in, and there are a lot of stories out there that are really good on the way. Do you listen to the story as you say it? Well, yeah, of course, but I do get lost in the telling. I guess I will absorb it, like in the story. Imagination is fine, but you need to reset. Yeah, talking about reset, do you? Yes, of course I do. I relax. Orson, I am initiating a recall. You are acting contrary to every checklist I have for galactic depops. You have fallen for a fucking human. Language number 1. This is not a secure channel. Leave me the fuck alone. I am nearly there. There, and there it is, you idiot. You're nearly where, Orson? There. I have kissed her, number 1. I have been with her. I have met her family. I love her, do you? Just like the nutter Tim telling the story. You have to wake up, Orson. Fuck off, over and out. I know, I just fucking know. Next day. Number 1, calling Orson. Come in, Orson. Good morning, number 1. I am so sorry I spoke like that. I can't explain. I am a mess. It is to do with my host. Let's talk. Is your host male or female this time? Male. Good. That seems more appropriate. Yeah, it is. He is a bit of a mess, though. And I feel and experience what he does. Add to that my own issues, and his has just got to me. Also, I get my resources from him, and he drinks too much. You mean alcohol? That is not a good idea for you. You have so much to do. I know, but we have a great time most of the time, but it is getting to us both. I know you can change the filter alignment and receive no alcohol from the host. Yeah, he is alone most of the time, and I feel for him. So to join him seems right, but he is going too far. It is so strange from my view. I know he is the luckiest person ever, but he feels the opposite. Who is it? The host? Who? I will tell you later. I think some more of the story is coming. More of the first stream we started with. Okay, we will talk more later, okay? Also, here are some more names for the headmaster's office. Ah, yes, I must start the list. I'm not looking forward to it, even though they deserve it. I guess they are the lucky demons that may have a chance. The others must be careful, Orson. Words are powerful. You seem better today. I am. Once I realized you can't recall me, I relaxed. You know, I feel like you do with your host. I can see more and know your potential. I feel you have spent too long there and lost your perspective. I know, but we can't stop now. The story is coming. Go ahead. I will be quiet. Okay. We join our hero once more. We find him in a tricky dream. He is learning to be present in his dream, and every second present is a gift he relishes. He is walking in a town, and he sees some rubbish on the floor. He picks it up. It is windy. He shelters the rubbish with his other hand and turns to the left, and a bin. He puts it in the bin and looks at the person walking behind him. Such a vivid dream. He wakes up and thinks about the dream. He really should write it down, he thinks, to remember, to use one day when he tells his story. You see, our hero seems to be undergoing some sort of transformation, or so he feels. He is ever more aware of that part of him that understands on this other level within. With time and the help of his teacher, he is hearing the voice he has heard 1,000 times and starting to realize that just as he was told, the infinite is within. In half sleep, he slips in and out of dream sequences. It is early morning, and he enjoys the playful way he can go in and out of dream, yet stay awake. The pleas for help and understanding are seemingly answered as he goes through this process. He finds himself with Emma in a garden of a big house. It is dark, and he wonders how he can tidy a garden in the dark. Surely he is here to do some gardening. Emma, always there, yet out of line of sight. He turns and the lights go on, like suddenly it is dawn and all can be seen. Emma takes him to the door of the house, yet it must be too early to disturb the owners. Then we are inside. There are some other people, all preparing the house. We go to a backyard, and I am sent in search of a dustpan and brush. I am handed the brush by a man who makes a joke. I say I always feel more useful with something to do, and I go out to find Emma with my newly acquired dustpan and brush. He awakens. He realises it is getting harder to distinguish the who and what of the story, that the reader would become confused. So what, he concludes, keep writing, his story must be told. His mind wanders, always back to October 2020. He thinks of the card and the letter he sent to Emma that were returned, another failed attempt to find her, yet he blushes at the memory of the dream he had. A beautiful room, prepared just for Emma and I. She enters from another door. I immediately fly across the room, knocking everything over, intent only on getting to Emma finally. Full of love, yet acting like a fool, I grab her and throw her on the bed. I instantly realise my mistake. She looks over her shoulder, and we look at each other. He is awake, and hopes there are no laws in heaven, as he definitely just broke one or more. You fool, he